In the following set of tutorials, we're going to take a look at understanding the pre-OOP programming method. Now this is the pre-object oriented programming method, and there's some things that are really important about this. Number one, this creates a much more flexible and easily reusable programming environment in Flash. It allows you to reuse your functions by passing new variables to those functions and running those functions in new ways. Now, the main concept behind this is what's called encapsulation as well, and this relates to that thing that we've been talking about, which is scope. So when you have a function, anything that is described inside that function is what's called a private or it's being encapsulated, so it's a private function of the main function, or something like that, a private variable. And so this also works with event listeners. We'll put event listeners inside of a function, and those event listeners are private event listeners of that function. So here's a sample pre-OOP function right here. You'll notice that I have function stop movie clip, and I have two variables, the button that's being clicked and the movie clip that we want to affect. Then I have a sub function, which is the click, and that makes the first object, let's see, actually the second object here, the movie clip object stop, and then we attach the event listener to the button. And then that event listener, of course, runs the function that's inside the first function. And so then when we want to instantiate those functions, all we have to do is pass to it what button and what movie clip we are going to be targeting. Now, this might not make much sense yet. It'll make a lot more sense after we've actually created some code and have it running and doing something. So let's create some code that will stop the two animations that we have here using the existing buttons. And let's do that in the traditional coding method, and then we'll update it for the pre-OOP method. So let's go to our actions layer, go to the actions panel, go ahead and pin that script, and let's begin by creating a simple function. Function stop MC1, and what we need is an event colon mouse event. Then we can do our void if we want, just to make it really specific, and then we'll put in our curly brackets. Now for this function, we're going to stop the first movie clip, which happens to be called box1_MC. So we can try and find that here. That is going to be box1_MC, so this dot box1_MC dot stop. Looks like I have a little problem there. Then we need an event listener, and that event listener is going to be targeting the box1 stop button. So we have this dot boxanim1 stop underscore btn dot add event listener. We're going to have a mouse event, and that'll be a click variety, and it will run the stop MC1 function. So there's our very first one, and you might want to go ahead and check that, make sure that's auto formatted, check the syntax, make sure it works before you copy and paste it for the next one. And it does in fact work. So we're going to copy and paste this so that we have it running twice. And then what we're going to do is change all the elements that need to be changed. We'll change stop 1 MC, or stop MC1 to 2. We'll change that to 2. We'll change the boxanim1 stop 2 button and the stop MC2. So we've changed everything from 1 to 2 so that we have a new instance of this code. Now this should be stopping both of those movie clips. Now if we reorganize our code just a little bit by putting our functions above our event listeners, we can make it a little bit easier to understand, but this is still not the most efficient way to code this. So what we're going to do in the next tutorial is we're going to take this code and reformat it so that it is in the pre-OOP method. It uses that style instead. And so let's go ahead and save your work here and go on to the next tutorial.